Yup, it's officially happening. OnePlus is officially leaving the US and EU markets, which is incredibly sad news. That said though, regardless of how you feel, the OnePlus 15 is actually extra special now because this is likely their last truly dedicated flagship to hit the States. And since they committed to honoring the remaining software updates and warranties for it, I want to tell you why I have no problem recommending you check this phone out while you still can. For one thing, the specs speak for themselves. All of this for 900 bucks. Yeah, that's still not exactly cheap, but it's still wildly competitive and there's a heck of a lot to like here now. Of course, this phone isn't perfect by any means, and those specs certainly didn't stop the internet from ripping into this phone when it launched for reasons such as lowering display resolution and its downgraded camera hardware. But after actually using the phone, the main takeaway is how great the day-to-day user experience has really been. Everything from mundane tasks to gaming and heavy multitasking feels like an absolute breeze. Speed and fluidity are something OnePlus phones have always had going for themselves, and this phone is no exception. It feels like they reached a nice sweet spot for the overall feel of the OS with buttery smooth animations, lightning fast data transfers, quick launching apps, and near instant fingerprint scans, and that 165Hz refresh rate and 3200Hz touch sampling rate have been awesome when I play games, including tough ones like Call of Duty Mobile. And even with long gaming sessions, I haven't experienced any serious overheating too, or any performance glitches. This is seriously one of, if not the quickest and most responsive phones that I've ever used. And it's all enhanced by how the phone feels in the hand. This Sandstorm variant in particular feels awesome, and even though the back panel is technically plastic, the coating it has, along with the coating on the side rails, makes for a great combination that still feels premium and very unique. Oh, and having that peace of mind near water with having those crazy IP ratings goes a long way too, knowing that this is one of the more rugged devices out there in that regard. So with the hardware, after these 8 months, it's held up really well. As for the battery life, I'll just say this, the battery is unhinged. In a good way. It still holds up extremely well and it continues to be a legit 2-day battery for me. Of course, extreme heavier use will have me charging by the time I hit the hay, but there have been many nights where I just didn't even need to plug in my phone because I knew that not only would I have enough to just get me through a decent portion of the next day, but if I did need to charge it, mere minutes on the charger would be enough to just keep me going for a quick while beyond that, thanks to the 80-watt charging speeds. And then there's the software. Over the years, Oppo and OnePlus have been molding OxygenOS into what is essentially a modified version of ColorOS. And honestly, I don't mind that at all, and I actually like the current state of OxygenOS. The blend of clean animations, there's no bloatware, it has nice smooth visuals, and a nice library of actually useful features, including live alerts, the super convenient sidebar, dynamic folders and app icons, motion cues for motion sickness, and Mindspace, which has Gemini integration by the way, just makes for a very enjoyable experience overall. I've already made multiple videos going through all the features OxygenOS has to offer, including the latest Android 16 update, and while it's not my absolute favorite Android skin out there, that would most likely be One UI, what OxygenOS does have is in no way anything to sneeze at. Plus, recent updates have polished up almost everything, including all the smaller UI elements. It's improved optimization and added nice quality of life features like being able to connect 2 sets of Bluetooth headphones simultaneously. It's really handy. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know that I've been rocking the Redtiger F7NA dashcam, which is the sponsor of this video, in my car for a couple of months now, and it's been incredible. It's been capturing all the crazy stuff that I see on the road in 4K on the front using Sony's IMX678 sensor, which is one of the most advanced 4K sensors on the market today. And then on the back, I got a 1080p camera that also helps out without missing a beat. I mean, with either of these cameras, I can actually read license plates and road signs from a huge distance, much better than most other dash cams on the market. And even at night, both Redtiger cameras still do a phenomenal job of capturing everything in great detail, with HDR helping balance out bright headlights from traffic without making everything else too dark. And then you can save everything on your phone quickly through the Redtiger app, where it connects over a super fast 5.8 GHz Wi-Fi 6 connection. Even crazier, in California, it's been getting ridiculously hot, hitting over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and it still survived the heat without a problem. I even tested it to the extreme where I parked the car outside while I went on a few errands, came back a few hours later, and it was still recording perfectly without any issues. The touchscreen was still very responsive, everything powered on like normal, and honestly, it just gave me a lot more confidence knowing that I don't have to worry about it during those insanely hot summer days. A big reason for that is that unlike a lot of cheaper dash cams that rely on lithium batteries, this one uses a supercapacitor instead, which is much more stable in extreme temperatures and just helps avoid the battery swelling problems that can happen over time. And on top of that, the camera also supports parking monitoring, so it's built to just keep working even when your car is sitting outside in the heat for hours. So if you've been looking for a dash cam that not only provides sharp footage, but can also handle the brutal heat inside a parked car, definitely check out the Redtiger F7NA using the top link in the description. Now back to the OnePlus 15, let's talk about all the shortcomings that this phone has. I mean, first off, the display. Sure, it's a lower resolution, 1.5K to be exact, and that's lower than even the OnePlus 13. But it didn't really bother me that much. It was still really nice to look at. I didn't really notice the lower resolution, and it got very bright and colorful. Obviously, the advantage to that too is that we get a higher refresh rate of 165 Hz, which is absolutely insanely great for gaming, and I did appreciate that. And then there's the speakers. I do still wish that they had more low end, but they're still pretty well tuned. It's just a nitpick. The device also has weaker haptics than most other devices that I've used, but I've gotten used to them, and that's because it has a smaller haptic motor than even the OnePlus 13. The plus key also exists, and for whatever reason, it still hasn't gotten the full customization I feel it needs. But for now, since I genuinely miss the alert slider, I still keep mine set to sound and vibration. Then for the software, it has its positives for sure, but I'd say its biggest negatives involve long-term support. It doesn't match the 7 years of OS updates that Samsung and Google boast, and updates don't arrive as frequently either. And yes, the camera hardware is simply not up to snuff for a device of this caliber and is a legitimate on-paper downgrade. There are definitely areas in which they fall short, especially at night. They're not the most consistent, and this camera system's ability to handle different scenarios and environments leaves a lot to be desired. But still, I mean, they're more than fine for the average Joe. They hold their own and come with plenty of noteworthy features like being able to record in log format and in slow-mo at 4K 120 FPS. They're not a reason to get this phone, but in my opinion, they're certainly not a reason to avoid it either, unless your top priority is camera performance, and in that case, you got plenty of other options to choose from. All things considered, the OnePlus 15 is without a doubt a top-tier phone even after all these months. Its downsides are undeniable, sure, but when you actually use the phone, its upsides become even more difficult to deny. Battery life, performance, and everyday user experience are the main selling points, and this phone absolutely crushes all of those categories. If you're thinking about picking up a OnePlus 15 today, needless to say, that's a very different purchase than it was 8 months ago because yes, once again, OnePlus has announced that it's pulling out of the US market. But honestly, I still have no problem recommending this phone, especially because OnePlus is committed to honoring all of its software update promises for the OnePlus 15 throughout its supported lifespan, and your warranty will still be honored too. The only caveat is that repairs will likely be handled through Oppo service centers or authorized third-party partners instead of dedicated OnePlus facilities. So if you've been worried that buying this phone means that you're on your own, that's simply not the case. Oxygen OS will actually eventually morph into full-on Color OS for these phones through a voluntary update coming up. Keep in mind that again, Oxygen OS is basically Color OS. It'll still have all the same features, looks, and feel, just under a different logo and branding. I've been covering OnePlus devices for a very long time now, so I totally get that the writing was on the wall for a while, but it still stinks nonetheless. It was always nice having another viable option outside the three-headed monster of Apple, Samsung, and Google, especially one that came packed with some of the highest end specs that a phone could come with at a reasonable price. So if you've always wanted to experience what made OnePlus different in the States, this might be your last opportunity to own one while it's still backed with full software support and warranty coverage. Anyway, if you want to keep watching my content, tap this video right here if you want to learn about 20 tech items that are under $100 that you'll actually want to buy. Thanks so much for sticking around to the end, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Kapow!